Mike Bohn here with Daniel Cormier, who challenges Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title in their trilogy bout, UFC 252, August 15th, DC. We are getting close to the last one. How's it going?
Yes, we are, man. Yes, we are. I'm very excited. I'm excited about it. I'm happy. I feel good. Yeah, it's a good time. My hat's a little bit. Look at my hat. What did I do to it? But yeah, I feel good.
Awesome, man. I'm glad to hear. I mean, when we spoke in December in Washington, we were still waiting. You said maybe it was going to be like June or something, and obviously the pandemic hit, all that stuff. There was some waiting around. You were putting some pressure on Stipe, but you okay with this time frame? I mean, does this work pretty good for you now?
Well, it's given me a ton of time to prepare, which is what I needed. I needed all the time that I could get. I Mike, I was in December. I wasn't in shape and ready to fight. I was kind of just working. And so when I started to get the word around April that they were looking at sometime in August, I was excited. Initially, it was going to be August 1st, but then when they told me it was 2 extra weeks, I just took it as a chance for me to just get more preparation time. So it's worked out perfect. I think things are as good as they're ever going to be, and it's the perfect time for a trilogy fight.
100%. How's the back?
The back's good, which is great. Mike, when we went into this training camp, I was talking to Bob Cook, and I told him, I go, look, if things start to get tight and the back starts to hurt, and I can't get through this training camp in the way that we need it to be, then we just won't fight. It's not going to be let's cut back on this, or if it gets hurting, let's stop. Let's not do that. Let's try to go and do a training camp in the way that we've always done them. And if the body holds up, then the body holds up. If it doesn't, then it doesn't.
Wow. So, like, you thought if you obviously you don't want to go in there like injured or anything, but if something happened along the way, you weren't going to be like, I'm just going to press through this. It's the last one. I can fix whatever it is after. You were just going to call it.
Well, Mike, like it was last time I made a lot of concessions in my training. If my hamstrings got tight, we'll stop. Or we need to adjust the training to make sure that you're okay. If my back started feeling a little beat up, there were times where we would kind of peel back, and hold back a little bit. Also, Mike, in the situation that we're in today, with all the success that I've had, knowing that my coaches were okay with me, like if I needed a day or if I needed this and this and this, it was easier sometimes to take those times, right? You're still a human being. And when things get hard and the week gets long, some days I decide I was going to just stay home and not do things. I did not want that to be the approach of this training camp. This training camp was going to be me working as hard as I possibly could. And if I got hurt in the process, then I got hurt in the process and I didn't fight. But if I got through it, I would be prepared in the way that I was prepared for every other championship fight in my life. Not the one where I came back from a back surgery.
Yeah, we already know you're not just like one of the guys in the gym when you're preparing, but under these circumstances with the pandemic and everything, have you noticed just even greater attention? Has it been like an actually good training camp in that sense, just because there's not all these other things going on?
Being, when I prepare for these fights, I've never just kind of been a guy that, is in the gym training, but we've gone into the gym some to prepare. And in that time, I have all my coaches. It feels normal, but I've done a lot at my house. I built this great home gym. I put a cage wall in, and I took the third side of my garage and made it into essentially a gym. So I've got aerodynes, I've got heavy bags, I've got mats, I've got wall mats, I've got a cage. So I've got a lot of things to prepare myself for the fight, and honestly, for the small octagon that we're going to be fighting in. So it's been difficult not being in AKA every day, but we've made do, and the camp has been truly centered around all of my needs going into this fight.
That's great. And tell me about two things. When we spoke last time, there was the George Foreman element. I assume that didn't work out exactly how you wanted to just because of everything that's going on. And then Mark Henry as well added as a coach in there too. So tell me a little bit about those two things.
Yeah, initially we were out in Houston working with George, and that was great, but with the COVID, George is a little older. You don't want to be going back and forth, so that didn't work in that sense, but just the time that I spent with George Foreman is something that I'm always going to treasure. And I think that I took some things from him in that short time. Having Mark Henry help me was fantastic. I kind of stumbled across it out in Vegas. I was there for a show, and Ali was like, "Hey, you want to work with Coach Henry?" And I was like, "Yeah." But when Coach Henry showed up, he had notes from the fight, and he had all these ideas, and he was just a mastermind in terms of preparation. And in the times that we got to spend together, that was on full display. He worked with me for a week out in Vegas, and then he came out to San Jose and worked with me for a week here. So having that extra hand was perfect. But the reality is, the coaches that I've had, Rosendo Sanchez and Javier Mendez and Bob Cook and Leandro Vera and Rudy Cruz and Chris Camacho, those guys have taken those things that I've added, and they've really just tried to redo what we've done on so many occasions and won so many world championships with.
Yeah, and this is such a unique fight in the fact, I mean, you guys are basically fighting 3 times in a row. I know you had the Derek Lewis fight in there, but it wasn't a full camp, anything like that. So, like, what are the elements, I guess, both psychological and physical, that go into facing the same guy 3 times in a row?
It's really crazy, right? Because regardless of how you twist it, Derek Lewis, I fought on 3 weeks. I was out of shape. I just went to wrestle him with the hope that I got to headline Madison Square Garden. It's odd because I remember when I was first asked about fighting Stipe Miocic, I never would have thought that it would have turned to this. 3 straight summers I've spent preparing for him, so I feel very familiar with Stipe and the things that he wants to do. I feel very familiar with his approach, and honestly, over the course of 3 years, you gain I've got a bigger level of respect for him and his abilities today, opposed to when I first took the fight or going into the second fight. You learn a lot about a person whenever they have become your sole focus for so long.
And for so long, it seemed like the Jones rivalry and those fights were going to be like kind of the defining measure of your career. But here we are. Even you said you didn't see this coming. Do you feel like this trilogy, no matter how it goes on the 15th, is going to be kind of the defining element, the defining rivalry of your career?
I think so. We get 3 fights, and I intend on winning the 3rd fight and winning the trilogy. But it'll be very difficult for me to ever be completely free of that rivalry with Jones because it was so big. We sold so much pay-per-view, and the rivalry was so nasty. We were so nasty with each other, and the general public paid attention. But competitively, this is the one that I love. Because I'm fighting a guy that has done and stood for the right things and has competed in the right way. Jones is a fantastic competitor, and I feel like still he brought the best out of me in terms of my preparation. But I believe Stipe Miocic has done the same thing now.
Yeah, and with your wrestling background, your UFC titles at light heavyweight, and everything, would Strikeforce as well, would winning here though be the defining or like biggest athletic achievement of your career, would you say?
I think becoming a 2-time UFC heavyweight champion would be the thing that kind of defines my career. I've won a lot, Mike. I've been a lucky guy in this sport, and just the ability and the opportunity to go out on top is it's unheard of. We see George St. Pierre constantly getting asked to come back. And just the other day, he said, man, I went out on top. People don't get that. I have that opportunity, and I think if I can complete this task, it's as big as anything I've ever done.
How are you going to shoo away all the people that are going to want you to fight again? Dana even said on Monday in an interview with Brett Okamoto, ESPN, that, I hope Daniel doesn't retire. I hope this isn't the last one. I'm sure you're going to hear that several more times in the next 2 weeks here. So,
I know.
All these people to go, how are you going to lay out that this is absolutely it, no matter what?
I think when you fight at the level that I fought, and when you win at the level that I've won, and you build the relationships in the way that I've built them, people want to see you be successful. And I just believe that at a point, I have to say, money is money, and I've made a lot of it, and there's going to always be more money, So if it's in my heart that this is it, then I have to be and stand firm in that, knowing that there are going to be opportunities, and you can be the best in the world, and you can always be the best in the world until you're not. and eventually sometimes and someone will catch up to you. And I'm just making sure that I get a chance to go out on top.
Have you thought about much what that night is going to be like on the 15th when they wrap the belt around your waist? Are you going to, lay the gloves down in the cage? I'm sure you're never going to want to take that belt off for the rest of the night. I mean, have you thought about what it's going to be like?
I haven't even thought about that, Mike.
Yeah.
I'm solely focused on the fight. I don't know about the aftermath. I'm not thinking about the theatrics and the all the things that goes into making a moment that will play. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just thinking about, for me, the most joyous thing is getting the belt wrapped around my waist. Like, that's it. The way that I've spent so much of my career, I want it to happen one more time. And that's all I can really think about. I'm not thinking about if my gloves are going to come out or if this is going to happen. I've never even thought about that for a second. It's just go win the fight. And if you do that, everything else that's just icing on the cake.
Yeah, and speaking of the fight, Stipe said in an interview, I think yesterday, that he's going to warn whoever the referee is about eye pokes. Is this the fair thing for him to say?
Yes, he's very fair because I have poked him in the eye. I haven't done it on purpose. And honestly, in training, I've been trying to do a better job of keeping my hands closed. I noticed myself doing things at times, just kind of flicking out punches, but I'm wearing 16-ounce gloves, so my training partners aren't getting poked. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping my hands more closed when I'm engaging, because I don't want to hurt. I don't want to do long-term damage to him in that way. So yeah, he's very just in that. I mean, I poked him in the first fight, and then I poked him in the second fight. I guess a couple times I think my thumb was going in his eye, but it is what it is. He does have a good gripe though. Yeah.
Does that show, maybe a mental advantage in your way though? I mean, obviously fouls can be present in any fight at any time.
Mm-hmm.
For him
I've
to
been
be
poked in the eye before in my life.
So much.
I've been poked in the eyes. I've had people poke me, but whatever. I've been kicked low. There's a number of things that have happened in my career, but I can't sit here and say that if I was him, I wouldn't say it, because I'm almost certain that me or my coaches said something going into the Jones fights about him and his hands being extended. So I'm not gonna judge him differently than I would judge my actions if I was in the same situation.
And in your mind, does this fight look more like the first fight or the second fight prior to his strategy change? Do you think it, ends earlier? Or do you think it maybe goes a little bit later into the championship rounds?
I think it goes I think it goes 25 minutes if both of us are as prepared as we say we are. I'm gonna do more things. I think Stipe did a fantastic job making those adjustments, but the reality is, I was so tired in that second fight. The exhaustion got me. Obviously, I'm getting hit by a guy like that does wear on you, but I couldn't even think to do the correct defenses. I was so exhausted, and that's sad. So I just need to do what I'm supposed to do out there, and that's what I'm going to do.
Awesome, man. Really looking forward to it. And just one last thing I wanted to ask you before I let you go. Your fight kicks off an amazing 3-event stretch on pay-per-view here for the UFC, August to October. We just announced Khabib is coming back October 24th. Are you surprised at all? I mean, I know you've spoke about this a lot with Ariel on your guys' show, but to actually have him confirmed back fighting October 24th, were you taking a little off guard?
I was a little nervous initially, but not nervous. I was a little taken aback, but I had heard after I did the show, I had heard that Khabib was looking more at getting going sooner than later. So when the announcement was made, it didn't surprise me because I had an inclination that it was going to happen. But yeah, I thought he would be away for a while, but nothing makes me happier than my champion coming back and defending his belt.
Yeah, and I guess, are you going to be able to commentate that fight, you think, or are you going to need to step back for Khabib?
Yeah, I'm probably going to step back, but I will commentate the Adesanya Costa fight. I would not miss it for the world. I would not miss Adesanya Costa for the world.
Yeah, man. I actually just interviewed Costa last night, and he seems very fired up. He said no shaking hands with Izzy after he knocks him out. What about you and Stipe? Are you guys going to be able to put all this behind you at the end of the fight?
I think when you train for someone for 3 years and the fights go in the way that they go, obviously your relationship changes. I think Stipe and I before were pretty cordial, maybe friends, but now it's a little bit different. But I do believe that when it's all said and done, I will not harbor any bad emotions toward him.
Or more of just a competitive animosity, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome, man. And for anyone who maybe is, I don't know why anyone would be on the fence watching this fight August 15th. It's an amazing card, an amazing fight. But give us the last message to Stipe Miocic, the last sales pitch for UFC 252.
You guys tune in because Stipe Miocic and I are going to put on a great fight. You got to remember, we've been in there for almost 5 rounds. And in those 5 rounds, you saw some fantastic mixed martial arts, highest level of fighting. And I am promising you that we will do the same thing. And you will get to see me, Daniel Cormier, get the belt wrapped around my waist one more time inside the UFC.
Awesome, DC. Really looking forward to it. I really appreciate you taking this time, man. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Were you going to say something else?
Thank you, Mike. No, I'm saying thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. You went out of your way to give me something extra before the last one. I appreciate you doing this a lot too, man. So we'll speak after the fight too when you are retired and full-time in the media with the rest of us.
Yeah, I know, right? I look forward to it. I do look forward to it.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. Have a great day.